Legends speak of a place where untold riches and fortunes can be found, a place where a lost temple can grant any explorer brave enough to find it fame and fortune. That legend speaks of the lost ruins of Arnak. And now, new geological surveys can point archaeologists on the right track. The race is on to collect the most sought-after artifacts, obtain the most renown by discovering the hidden wisdom of the temple, exploring the many sites of this undiscovered jungle, or slaying a myriad of mythological creatures thought only possible in myth. Will you dabble in some of these or concentrate on one path? How will you become renowned in history for your part in discovering the lost ruins of Arnak? With the game set, each player will start off with an archaeological team, coins and compasses, and some trepidation. Each player will draw a hand of 5 cards, and your expedition is underway. The active player can choose to do one action and any number of free actions. Free actions are denoted by this lightning icon, and are done by simply playing that card in your play area and gaining the listed benefit. These include basic resources like coins and compasses, to more valuable resources later on like tablets, arrowheads, and gems, to drawing or exiling cards from your hand or play area, such as unwanted fear cards that clog your deck and gives you negative points at the end of the game. But only one non-free action can be done per turn. Digging at a site will have you place an archaeologist on a discovered site and gain its resources. Sites require a travel method to get there, either by foot, which in turn those locations can be traveled by car or boat, which in turn can all be traveled by plane. Cards played to denote what you need to travel will be placed in front of you in your play area. Note that you cannot use a card for both the travel icon and its free or non-free action. You must choose one or the other. Discovering new sites not only requires a travel cost, but also compasses. The further in the jungle, the more compasses required, but also the bigger the reward. On top of the regular reward, bonus reward is represented by the idols here. Face-up ones will garner you that resource or effect and then turn face down on your camp board. Afterwards, these idols can be turned in as a free action to perform any one listed here. But note that doing so will cover valuable endgame scoring. It's not all risk-free reward though, as discovering new sites also comes with a mythical guardian protecting its home. Which brings us to the next action. You can attempt to defeat a guardian provided you have an archaeologist there and the required resources to do so. Defeating a guardian not only will garner you points, but will also have a one-shot free action, which will then have that guardian tile flipped over. If at the end of the round one of your archaeologists is on a site with a guardian, you must take a fear card and place it in your play area. Now sometimes you might want to hold on the exploration bug you have and plan ahead. So as an action, you may opt to choose instead to buy a card from the row. Cards left of the staff are artifacts found in the jungle. Simply do the trek by discarding compasses and gain the card in your play area along with its listed effect. When you draw it a second time further in the game, use of it requires you to pay a tablet. Cards on the right of the staff are items and equipment you buy for coin. But unlike artifacts, these go to the bottom of the deck. Picture a crate being dropped in your jungle location by air. It's not instant. This brings us to the next action, play a card. Some of these items or artifacts are not denoted by the free action, meaning to play them for its effect, you must spend an action to do so to reap the reward. Research into the unknown is just as important as planning and doing expeditions. The only way to find the lost temple is to research its possible location. Researching requires you to spend the resources in the right column from where you're on and move your magnifying glass or notebook up to gain the reward and possible tile if they're first. Points for positioning will be granted as well at the end of the game. Note that you can never move your notebook above your magnifying glass, and you can't take notes of something you haven't researched. Research for the Lost Temple is the most enticing way to gain assistance, as they are seeking the temple as well. When reaching the assistant reward, you'll choose one from the top of the 3 piles and place it in your camp. Assistants become better with research as well as they get upgraded for maximal efficiency. Note, most assistant abilities can be used as a free action by turning them sideways, which then can no longer be used this round unless you find a way to refresh them. When indeed you do manage to find the lost temple, besides getting the most points and renown to whoever found it first, the writing on its literal walls are limited. These will give you points based on what you pay for them. Any one of these for the first tiles are worth 2 points, any combination of 2 of these for 6 points, and all 3 of these for the coveted top tile worth 11 points. As you play your 1 action per turn and free action, your hand sizes starts diminishing and eventually you'll have to pass. This means you can no longer play this round and must wait for all the other players to pass as well. When they've done so, we prepare for the next round. First, reclaim any archaeologists on the board back and remember to add 1 fear card in your play area for sites where they came from with guardians on them. Take all your cards in your play area, shuffle them, and place them at the bottom of your deck and refresh assistants. Now exile the 2 cards on both sides of the moonstaff, slide it over and fill in the space with the corresponding decks, and move the first player marker to the next player on the left. If this was the last round, we count points. These points come from research locations for both magnifying glass and notebook, temple tiles you've collected, idols and points for unused slots, guardians defeated, and of course, artifacts and items in your deck. Remove any points for fear, and the player with the most points wins. The Lost Ruins of Arnak has given me a gaming experience I haven't had in a while, and by that I mean a positive one. It blends perfectly well gameplay and theme. As most of you know, theme comes second over gameplay for us, but when a game melds it this perfectly, it's not only a strong bonus, but a bar every game should aspire to. Each card effect feels like what it's meant to represent. Each site you discover always has that surprise of discovery, from the rewards to the guardian that protects them. You feel the distance of the jungle, the planning of every action you take as it immerses you more into the world of fantasy archaeology like an Indiana Jones movie. And what I love about the game is its different strategical paths for victory, which after numerous playthroughs seems to me that they're all viable and balanced choices. And speaking of choices, there are numerous ones based on what cards you drew, how to play them, how to mitigate them, and what your opponents are doing. Every action should be considered carefully, as choosing them in the wrong order might make you win or lose some points. And gaming with my friends, the points were pretty close, as in the 70s to 80s mark, with very little variation between scores. It was always a close game, with players taking different strategies. The Lost Ruins of Arnak has been on the BGG hotness for a while, and I can't say that for this one, it wasn't just hype. It's a fantastic game and it's staying in my collection. The Lost Ruins of Arnak scores an impressive 9 out of 10. There's also a solo mode that I haven't tried just yet, but from what I hear, it's great. Enjoyed our review? Like the video and subscribe. You can also find us on social media like Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for watching. Until next time.